No, I'll have to ask for that next
No,
time.
don't ask for it. It's very, very painful indeed.
But I might like a little pain.
Do not judge the lady in the leather dress.
Marvelous late-night presenter and quick-witted comic Craig Ferguson has a natural talent for expression. Many of the female guests on The Late Late Show have fallen head over heels for his magnetic personality and charming charm. But Ferguson has now spoken up about a relationship that changed his life. He revealed to the public with a dash of humor, honesty, and nostalgia who really bears the title of his life's love. Because of this news, those who follow one of the most charming TV personalities are curious to find out more about the lady who won his heart. Would you happen to know her? Was it on the program that they first met? Come investigate this surprising news with us. Comedian, actor, writer, and TV personality Craig Ferguson was born in Scotland and now lives in the United States. His 2009 interview with South African Archbishop Desmond Tutu garnered him a Peabody Award, and he is most renowned for his work as host of CBS's late-night chat program, The Late Late Program with Craig Ferguson. Craig Ferguson came into this world in the Glasgow suburb of Springburn on May 17, 1962. Growing up in the dynamic and often difficult Glasgow of the 60s and 70s was formative for Ferguson and his working-class family. His mother, Janet Ferguson, stayed at home to raise their 4 children. His father, Robert, was a postal worker. As a child, Ferguson had a reputation for having a wicked sense of humor, which would come to characterize his professional life. Having said that, he did have a challenging upbringing. Ferguson dropped out of high school at 16 years old due to his academic struggles and feelings of being an outcast. Amidst these early hardships, he discovered refuge in music, especially punk rock, which profoundly shaped his identity as a teenager. After dropping out of school, Ferguson started an apprenticeship to learn electronics repair, but he soon discovered it wasn't his calling. He began his career in show business as the drummer for the punk band Dream Boys, formerly the Bastards from Hell, after deciding to pursue a career in music. His interest in stand-up comedy began around this period, when he also acquired a strong desire to perform. He chose to construct a persona that he characterized as a spoof of all the uber-patriotic native folk singers who seemed to dominate every public performance in Scotland after his nerve-wracking first comedy appearance. Ferguson made her stage debut in Glasgow under the alias Bing Hitler, a moniker she stole from Peter Capaldi. The show was a smashing success at the 1986 Edinburgh Festival Fringe. But Ferguson had already announced his plan to retire Bing by year's end. Ferguson went on to star in several television productions after her Edinburgh Festival triumph, including STV's Hogmanay events, Confidence in Red Dwarf, and the 1993 Christmas special One Foot in the Algarve. Paul Whitehouse and Helen Atkinson Wood co-starred in the 1990 Granada television one-off comedy pilot, The Craig Ferguson Show. Success in musical theater was another area Ferguson explored. In the 1991-1992 London run of the Rocky Horror Show, he played the role of Brad Majors. His role as Father Maloney was staged at London's Union Chapel in 1994 as part of Bad Boy Johnny and the Prophets of Doom. Returning to the Edinburgh Fringe that year, he played Oscar Madison in The Odd Couple. Rick Siegel, who would later become Ferguson's agent, proposed that he go to Los Angeles in November 1994 after seeing him perform at the Edinburgh Festival. The 1995 ABC comedy Maybe This Time, which co-starred Betty White and Marie Osmond, was his debut performance in the United States. He played the part of Baker Logan McDonough. His breakout role in the United States occurred from 1996-2003 on The Drew Carey Show, when he portrayed Mr. Wick, the employer of the titular character. To compensate for years of English actors performing crap Scottish accents, he played the role with an overdone aristocratic English accent. He blamed James Doohan's depiction of Montgomery Scott on Star Trek for inspiring his vengeance in his comedy show A Wee Bit of Revolution. His unconventional firing practices stood out, and he had a particular penchant for taking out individuals with the Johnson surname. Ferguson was a recurrent character for the last 2 seasons and appeared in the 2004 series finale, even though she left the program in 2003. Ferguson used his downtime while filming The Drew Carey Show to write and work in his trailer. The Big T's, Saving Grace, and I'll Be. There were the 3 films in which he co-wrote and starred while filming his sequences. The film he directed, I'll Be There, took home the top prize at the Aspen, Dallas, and Valencia film festivals, as well as the Audience's Choice Award. Despite Craig Ferguson's acclaimed success on The Drew Carey Show, his career really took off when he hosted The Late Late Show. It was the show that catapulted him from adored character actor to respected late-night TV presenter with a distinct voice in the business. It was Craig Kilborn that Ferguson succeeded in January 2005 as the helm of The Late Late Show. Despite his popularity as Mr. Wick on The Drew Carey Show, Ferguson was mostly unknown to the general American public at that period, as late-night television was ruled by well-established figures like David Letterman and Jay Leno. Ferguson, on the other hand, made his impression quickly. It was unusual how Ferguson handled hosting. He infuses the program with a new sense of spontaneity, deviating from the typical late-night format of monologues, skits, and interviews. He would frequently begin his performances with spontaneous cold openings, when he would address the crowd in a way that was more conversational than staged. His improvised style made him stand out from the crowd, and his audience loved him for it because of his honesty and charm. During his time at The Late Late Show, Ferguson stood out for his unique talent for combining comedy with genuine honesty. He often drew on his own life experiences, including his battles with addiction, his path to become an American citizen, and the death of his father, and was renowned for his courage to address heavy subjects. He connected with his audience on a deeper level and gave the act more depth via these vulnerable times. One further thing that made the program stand out was Ferguson's interviews. He was unusual among late-night hosts in that he never used canned questions or rehearsed dialogue. On the contrary, he had real discussions with his visitors, which often went off in unexpected directions, but always ended up being memorable. Interviews with him were more like casual conversations than promotional stops on a media tour due to his charisma, humor, and ability to make visitors feel comfortable. His encounters with Jeff Peterson, a spoken robotic skeleton, and Secretariat, a pantomime horse, were among the show's eccentric features that won over viewers. Unlike other late-night shows, this one had a distinct oddball comedy, thanks in large part to these ridiculous touches. Being a part of The Late Late Show was a huge success for Ferguson, who gained a devoted following and a lot of attention from critics. An interview he gave with Archbishop Desmond Tutu in 2009 garnered him a Peabody Award. The two men handled weighty topics with poise and wisdom in their discussion. It was in April 2014 when Ferguson made the announcement that he was quitting the program after almost a decade on broadcast. On December 19, 2014, he broadcast his last show, which was a tribute to his tenure as host. It included cameos from many of his beloved guests and ended with a touching and amusing goodbye. Even though he left a lasting impression on late-night television with his departure, his impact will live on. Coquette Productions' syndicated game show Celebrity Name Game, which Ferguson will host starting in late 2014, was announced in October 2013. Beginning with the 2011 concept and pilot for a CBS primetime series, Ferguson has been involved with the project in some capacity. An initial order of 180 episodes was placed for the series in April 2014. September 22, 2014, was the premiere date of the syndicated series. Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Game Show Host went to Ferguson in 2015 and 2016 for Celebrity Name Game. The news of the series' cancellation after 3 seasons was revealed on December 2, 2016. As an apprentice named Porter, Ferguson joined the cast of ABC's comedic pilot The King of 7B in 2015. Sadly, the show didn't get picked up. Join or Die with Craig Ferguson, a history conversation program, premiered on History on February 18, 2016. Ferguson got the tattoo on his forearm after becoming an American citizen. It was an homage to a political cartoon by Benjamin Franklin that appeared in the Pennsylvania Gazette on May 9, 1754. Viewers are asked to offer their ideas via Twitter as Ferguson, and a three-guest panel of historians and comedians have a funny conversation on various subjects, such as the most hopeless presidential campaign, the best founding father, and the greatest innovation. American game show presenter Craig Ferguson was on ABC's The Hustler from January 2021 to April 2022. In this game show, 5 competitors worked together to win a cash reward by correctly answering Ferguson's trivia questions. However, one person is privately named The Hustler and has access to all of the answers. At the game's conclusion, 2 of the truthful competitors have been eliminated. To prevent them from taking home the whole reward, the other 2 must choose the hustler properly. The first episode aired on January 4, 2021, and the series returned to its Thursday night 10 p.m. time slot on January 7, 2021. After 2 seasons and 19 episodes, the show was reportedly canceled in April 2022. Like his complicated emotional journey, Craig Ferguson's romantic life has been full of ups and downs. Ferguson has been very forthright about his relationships, including his 3 marriages, using the same kind of comedy and self-reflection that has come to characterize him in public. In 1983, Ferguson wed Anne Hogarth, a fellow Scot. This union took place before to Ferguson's arrival in the U.S. and his meteoric rise to stardom. Divorced in 1986, the marriage didn't last long. Bodybuilder and fitness instructor Sasha Corwin was Ferguson's spouse in 1998. Taking place in Ferguson's early years as a professional in the United States, this marriage was more well-publicized. They welcomed a son, Milo Hamish Ferguson, into the world in 2001. The pleasure of having a kid did not prevent the 2004 divorce from finalizing the marriage. Ferguson kept in touch with Sasha following the divorce and has been quite kind of her in interviews, praising their shared parenting and mutual regard. Vermont-based art dealer Megan Wallace Cunningham is Ferguson's 3rd and current spouse. On December 21, 2008, the pair tied the knot in a small, intimate ceremony held on the property owned by her family. Despite her husband's celebrity, Megan has stayed out of the spotlight for the most part, and the couple's relationship has been marked by stability and mutual support. Their 2011 son, Liam James Ferguson, is their only child. Finally, the one everyone has been wanting answered: who is Craig Ferguson's soulmate? Could it have been Sasha, his second wife, or one of the many women he had entertained, with whom he had flirted before? During an appearance on The Howard Stern Show, Craig Ferguson recently disclosed that he had previously asked Sharon Stone out on a date after her appearance on The Late Late Show. "We just had dinner," Craig said about his evening out with Sharon. Craig said that the date didn't exactly work since it seemed like a continuation of their TV interview, and admitted, "I've got to be honest, the whole time I was thinking about that scene in Basic Instinct." He also mentioned visualizing Sharon in one of her most iconic movie moments. "It was uncomfortable for both of us," Craig said. "I think we both survived that quite well." Craig was pulled off the market permanently after meeting his wife Megan. "Once we got together, that was it," Craig informed Howard, adding that he was happy to become a taken man. "I think it saved me, to be honest. I think I would have made a fool of myself." Their relationship seems to be a solid and long-lasting one, and Ferguson has often said that Megan gives him stability and perspective. After the difficulties of his previous relationships, he has found great joy in his marriage to the woman he has affectionately called the love of his life. Ferguson has a long history of incorporating humorous introspection into his stand-up routines and talk show monologues by drawing on his own experiences in love and marriage. His followers have been moved by his openness about the highs and lows of his romantic life, particularly the difficulties of keeping romances afloat while being in the public glare. After leaving The Late Late Show, Craig Ferguson's versatility as a presenter, actor, and producer was on full display in his other television undertakings. He has been a featured guest on numerous shows, including Rachel Ray, The Howard Stern Show, The Daily Show, The View, Loveline, Real Time with Bill Maher, The Price is Right, The Soup, The Talk, The Price is Right, Kevin Pollak's Chat Show, The Dennis Miller Show, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Along with his work as a guest presenter on 2014's April Fool's Day edition of The Price is Right, he co-hosted Live with Regis and Kelly with Kelly Ripa. In 2009, Ferguson appeared in a live-action cameo on Family Guy's We Love You, Conrad. He presided over the January 10, 2006 32nd People's Choice Awards. He was the presenter of CBS's nationally aired Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular from 2007-2010. At the White House Correspondents Association dinner in Washington, D.C. on April 26, 2008, he was also the main entertainment. Ferguson has voiced a number of cartoon characters. On Futurama, a show that mocked the Scottish singer Susan Boyle, he provided the voice for Susan Boyle. The Big Apple and Sin City have both hosted his stand-up comedy shows. He was the featured performer at Montreal's Just for Laughs festival, and Ferguson recorded his stand-up routine in Boston in October 2008 for a Comedy Central special called A Wee Bit of Revolution, which was shown on March 22, 2009. A character from Ferguson's film Saving Grace served as the inspiration for the British television comedy drama Doc Martin, with Ferguson penning 12 episodes of the show. In the 2009 November 6th SpongeBob SquarePants special, SpongeBob's Truth or Square, Ferguson voiced the character he created for the show. He made an appearance as a tabloid journalist in Hot in Cleveland's September 2013 season finale. His old co-star and regular guest on the Late Late program, Betty White, was back on the program with him. When the program came back in March 2014, Ferguson was back for a few episodes. A 2-hour discussion program on SiriusXM satellite radio's Faction Discussion and the Comedy Greats channel, the Craig Ferguson program debuted on February 27, 2017. But May 11, 2018, was the airing date of his final new program. Sony Pictures Television announced in January 2023 that Craig Ferguson would host a new half-hour syndicated late-night chat program. Sony Pictures Television will release Channel Surf with Craig Ferguson, which will be produced by Whisper North. Additionally, Ferguson has dabbled with writing. The Bridge and the River, his 2006 book, was released to the public on April 10th. At many author literary events, he made an appearance at the Los Angeles Festival of Books. To his grandpa Adam and his eldest son Milo, the book is dedicated. In an interview, he discussed the book's sequel, which he is penning under the working title The Sphinx of the Mississippi. In an interview he gave to David Letterman in 2006, he also said that he plans for the book to serve as the debut of a trilogy. In order to get his memoirs published, Ferguson signed a contract with HarperCollins. Beginning with his time as a punk rocker, dancer, bouncer, and construction worker, the book American on Purpose, The Improbable Adventures of an Unlikely Patriot delves into his journey to become an American. It also chronicles his rise to fame as an actor and comedian in Hollywood. He took the citizenship exam and swore in as an American citizen on February 1, 2008, and he televised the whole process on The Late Late Show. On September 22, 2009, his book was released for sale in the U.S. The audiobook received a Grammy nomination for Best Spoken Word Album on December 1, 2010. To promote her 2009 book Married Lovers, Jackie Collins made an appearance on The Late Late Show in July. Collins said that her admiration for Ferguson and his program inspired her to create a character in her novel, Don Verona, on him. In Sunlight or in Shadow, anthology collecting pieces inspired by the paintings of Edward Hopper was curated by Lawrence Block and included a short tale written by Ferguson. Beyond his work on The Late Late Show, Craig Ferguson has shown his versatility and wide popularity in a variety of forms, including game programs, historical discussions, voice acting, and comedies. He is adored by many in the television business for his charm, brilliance, and hilarious sense of humor.